The Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, has now been banned. This is after protests persisted, even after the Inspector General of Police announced that they were no longer to be on the road for checkpoints and other relative duties. Now, the protesters are saying that they want a total reformation in the police force after stories of misconduct, brutalization, and infringements on citizens' rights. Well, we will look at the protest and the way forward on this episode of Special Report. You're welcome. I'm Ini John Mekwa. It's a chant that has become common in the country at this time. Almost all states have recorded the protest asking for an end to the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS. The order by the Inspector General of Police restricting the operations of the squad and other like squads seem to annoy the protesters even more.
You can't just have a police force and you have police officers that can look you in the face and tell you, I will shoot you, I will waste you, and nothing will happen will happen. And nothing will happen. They keep. Why would SARS have POS? Why would they tell you to give them Bitcoin? So they have digital wallet, they have POS. Is that police or a business venture?
In Lagos State, where it seems more stories of alleged misconduct by SARS officers have been told, celebrities and youths kept vigil at the gate of State House of Assembly, expressing anger and what they say are lives lost and rights infringed.
We are not safe, we are hustling. They say no work, we don't use our own brain. iPhone no be SARS, iPhone no be gun, iPhone.
Relentless at their demand, the group even spent nights to show how significant their request is.
Every time this happens, we keep waiting for the government to take responsibility.
In other parts of the state, the message is the same, from Ikoyi on the island to Ikorodu on the mainland. Social media has also served as a platform for many to vent their anger, which is not without reasons. It seems one story too many. Videos that support allegations that members of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, are acting unlawfully are easily found on various social media platforms.
Who are you? What's your name? Who are you?
Many victims have shared their experiences and say it goes beyond what has been captured by the videos and on the roads.
2011, I was arrested by FSARS.
Harrison Gwamnishu has loads of stories to tell, from his personal experience to operating a non-governmental organization behind bars. He says his experience started in 2011 when his former boss told the officers to arrest him as a suspect of armed robbery.
So I was taken from Asaba to Lagos State. So on our way, I was tortured. They pointed me gun, saying I should confess that I was among them, which I didn't do, which I didn't confess, agreed to what they were telling me. So I was taken to custody, the Ikeja SARS, that's where they have the Scorpion base in Lagos, Nigeria. So there, I was put inside the cell, later brought out and forced to write statement, which I wrote statement on what transpired. So while writing the statement, I was being beaten with baton, with belt, and the rest of them. So at that period in 2011, around towards June, July, I was brought out from the cell in the night, couple of times, people being shot and the rest of them. So they took me to where they call theater. At the SARS office in Ikeja, they have where they call theater. Theater is where they bring people to torture them to confess to crime. So I was brought out from the cell, taken to the theater. They put a tire on my neck and a very big chain too. Then tie my hands to my back, my two legs to my hand at my back. Then they took me up and hung me. They hung me up on the iron they put up there. So in less than 2 minutes, I paralyzed. All my hand, I couldn't move. I was shouting for help, and someone was not telling them from the cell that they should bring me down. They should bring me down. Calling them, they should bring me down because I was shouting. So they took me to a hospital, Police College Hospital, Ikeja, where I was admitted. So when I woke up, I saw doctors pressing my chest, and that was what happened. Then
Harrison
the
says he
next
spent
day, they
4
took
years
me
in
to,
Kirikiri in Lagos, after
Kirikiri
which he was
prison, where they
acquainted,
said,
and he continues to seek justice to victims of police violent activities. Following what seems like daily outcry by Nigerians on infringement of citizen rights and the incident in Delta State where a life was almost lost, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Ibrahim Idris, has ordered the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad FSARS not to attend to civil or commercial matters again and to strictly restrict their involvement to armed robbery and kidnapping cases, only with the promise that there's an ongoing overhaul of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. Well, this has not raised much hope within the people.
That once there is an issue, where there's lack of consistency in the way things are done, and once you have reasons to believe that the IG is actually seeing certain things, or there are gaps in between communications and all. But for example, I can tell you for sure that I doubt if IG seen the traction, I've seen the gains from 2017 till date, based on collaborations with external forces like us, with external organizations, external NGOs, external members or collaborations of civil society organizations who are helping police to win trust. I don't think he has seen the gains, because if he has, there's really no point where we'll be arguing whether end SARS or reform SARS. There's no point in reforming cancer. You understand? Because and that's one of the reasons why we cannot believe anything. What we put in place, what has been put in place now, is a recommendation of 2 years ago.
Segun Awosonya's uncertainty in the IG's order may be what played out in Imo State about 4 days after the order. The gathering of NSAS protesters was cut short when a divisional police officer, Obi Naobi, was said to have pulled a gun on the protesters. The Commissioner of Police in the state condemns his action and promises that disciplinary actions will be taken against him.
They are sending on the social media, showing the DPO pulling out his gun. It's not acceptable to us, because we are expected to be civil to the members of the public. Well, I guess the DPO was trying to probably put them away when they were trying to approach him, to mob him, probably attack him and then collect his gun from him or whatever. Anyway, I'm not defending the DPO, because that is not the action that is expected of him. And disciplinary action will be taken against him in that regards.
The Nigerian police will look up to ventilate our anger.
Yes, sir! Youths in other states have staged protests to air their grievances about the conduct of not just the SARS officers but other police officers. These protests and talks are not new. Previously, it had culminated in the call for a reform of the Police Act.
Good afternoon.
Heeding to this call, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has disbanded the unit and promised reforms which many in the country seek.
Following a review of the current developments and in due cognizance of the wide and legitimately held concerns of well-meaning citizens on the existence and operations of Special Anti-Robbery Squad as a responsive and citizen-oriented police force, it is hereby directed as follows. 1. The Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the Nigerian Police, otherwise known as SARS, is hereby dissolved across all formations, the 36 state police commands, and the Federal Capital Territory, where they currently exist. 2. All officers and men currently serving in the unit are to be deployed with immediate effect. 3. New policing arrangements to address the offenses of armed robbery and other violent crimes that fall within the mandate of the dissolved Special Anti-Robbery Squad shall be presented in due course. 4. A Citizens and Strategic Holders Forum will be formed to regularly interface with the leadership of the police at all levels and advise on police activities. 5, to deal with the reports of crimes committed against citizens, an investigation team will be constituted, which will include civil society organizations for transparency, and the culprit will be punished.
While the disbandment is applauded, protesters want more. They've promised to keep up their campaign, seeking justice for victims of police brutality and an overhaul of the security apparatus, especially after the killing of Jimoh Isiaq, a student of Ladoke Akintola University in Ogbomoso, who was said to have been shot by a police officer on Sunday the 11th of October during the EndSARS protest in Oyo State.
Interactions between the police and our citizens.
In 2019, a bill for an act to repeal the Police Act 2004 and enact the Nigerian Police Bill was initiated. In September 2020, the president signed the act into law. The law criminalizes human rights violation by the police, ensures stringent safeguards to protect human rights, endorses community police relations, defines a positive legal framework for effective policing, ensures proper and lawful arrests generally without unnecessary restraint, and ensures lawful conduct in the search of criminal suspects. As per funding and welfare, the bill provides for the adequate establishment and maintenance of the police force through a fund into which shall be paid budgetary allocations as may be appropriated by the Act of the National Assembly for the police force. In order to enhance transparency and accountability in the process, the bill mandates a state government or Federal Capital Territory Abuja, as the case may be, to keep records of all contributions made and specify the purpose for which a contribution is made. As regards protecting human rights, a suspect or defendant may not be handcuffed, bound or subjected to restraint except there's a reasonable apprehension of violence or an attempt to escape. The police is happy with this new law.
You don't even need so much investigation to know that the Police Act and Regulation clearly needs some retouch. I mean, for any law that have been in existence for that long. So things are changing every day. You need to regularly look at your legislations, and you will also understand that the law is the foundation of all reforms. Administrative reforms, internal reforms, you need to have the backing of the law to be able to push some administrative changes within the force. So we are stepping up trainings. Okay. We know that every single police officer who is given weapon has initially passed his weapon proficiency test. But we understand that training and retraining must be on regular basis. So we need to continue to emphasize and dish out more and more trainings to our personnel so that they remain consistently on top of their game. 3, beyond issue of training on weapon proficiency, we are also increasing our training and expanding our curriculum as it relates to issues of training on respect for human rights, attitudinal change, and improving on our customer relationship between the police and the public, interpersonal relationship, and the skills that are required in effectively dealing with the populace and the citizens and the clients that you as a police officer is expected to come in contact with and relate with on daily basis.
While the law seems pleasant to all, including the officers, the implementation of the law seems far from reality. Segun Awosanya has been driving this conversation through the hashtag EndSARS for a while.
What we need is to holistically carry Nigerians along, educate them about the bill, then also do significant training of the police officers themselves. If they listen to the advisory to shut down this tactical squad. We're not saying fire them and make them jobless. No, shut them down, shut the program down, let them know that this program has ended.
They are policemen like every other police officer.
Former Commissioner of Police Fatai Owusheni believes that the issue surrounding reforming the police force goes beyond the orders and even the new law and points more into internal runnings and regulations.
The influence of members of the public is not helping. That is the political leadership, some big men in Nigeria. You now find out that because of this undue influence, undue interference, you just see that, oh, maybe the leadership of the police is receiving a letter. I want this person to be posted here. I want that person to be posted there. And sometimes the members of the public too, they take cases to the Inspector General of Police or to the Commissioner of Police. And the first thing they will say is that it's SARS that we want to investigate our case. It's police mobile force we want you to send. To the extent that we've now neglected the routine police duties. The main duties, working beats, doing preventive measures are not being done now. And most of these young officers now would say, oh, I want to work in SARS. I want to work in the PMF. It is just the failure, the failure to abide with extant rules and regulations.
Aware that the Anti-Torture Act 2017.
Lawmakers have waded into the matter. In the House of Representatives, House Leader Honorable Alhassan Adodogua advanced the discussion and laid some motions before the House during one of their sessions.
Amend existing laws and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to excise or delete Section 215(5) and replace it with provisions that ensure judicial review of police actions to be entrenched and protected by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. 2, establish a framework, legal framework, for holding individual members of Nigeria Police Force, NPF, accountable for their conduct in the course of performance of their lawful duties, including criminal and civil liabilities. 3, allow the Nigeria Police Force, NPF, to bear civil liability for failures in their conduct and operational procedures that lead to violations of citizens' rights.
In terms of either warrant of arrest or whatever.
In the Senate, the leadership of the police force comes under fire with the accusation that rules of engagement have not been well spelled out.
The highest authority of the Nigerian police are aware of the activities of FSAS, and I think we have to hold them accountable. The truth is, FSAS does not seem to have any rules of engagement. And I think we know very well in a civilized society, rules of engagement defines actions and inactions.
Senate accordingly resolves 1. Mandate the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters to investigate human rights abuses by Nigerian security agencies. 2. Urge the various security agencies to establish hotlines to enable Nigerians report abuses by their agents.
To further assure the protesters that it's a new dawn in the security architecture of the country, the President and the Vice President have spoken, and they assure everyone that the disbandment of SARS is just the beginning of reformation in the police force.
I would like to use this opportunity to say a word on the recent genuine concerns and agitations by Nigerians about the excessive use of force and, in some cases, extrajudicial killings and wrongful conduct by men of the Nigerian police force. The disbanding of SARS is only the first step in our commitment to extensive police reform in order to ensure that the primary duty of the police and other law enforcement agencies remains the protection of lives and livelihoods of our people. We will also ensure that all those responsible for misconduct or wrongful acts are brought to justice. We also deeply regret the loss of life of the young man in Oyo State during the recent demonstrations. I have directed that the circumstances of his death should be thoroughly investigated. Meanwhile, it is important to recognize that the vast majority of men and women of the police force are hardworking and diligent in performing their duties. The few bad eggs should not be allowed to tarnish the image and reputation of the force.
The SARS has been disbanded, and that the Inspector General of Police has also committed to ensuring not only that is it disbanded, but that whatever takes its place has the full participation of civil society groups and all other stakeholders. So it's, I think what we're seeing is a very, and today, just a few minutes ago, the President also spoke about this and spoke in particular about the reform efforts. He said that the disbandment of SARS is only the first stage in a full-scale reform of the police force. And I think that everyone is committed to seeing a police force and also law enforcement that will meet the expectations of the Nigerian people. The purpose of law enforcement, the purpose of policing is for the safety of lives and livelihoods of Nigerians. So we're all committed to that, and I think that everyone is committed to it. I don't think that it is the exclusive preserve of any one person or group. We're all very committed to it. The President has also spoken just a few minutes ago about the prosecution of all of those who have committed wrongful acts in any way, law enforcement agents who have committed wrongful acts. I think all these commitments have been made, but we must also understand that it's a process. It's not an event. Reform is a process. We must all commit to it. Everyone must be interested and must stay focused on those issues. I think the clear message is that there is a government commitment to ensuring that the process of reform is done, that those who have been, that anyone who has been, those who have committed wrongful acts are duly investigated and prosecuted, and that whatever replaces SARS is something that is acceptable, first of all, in its compliance with all of the tenets of the rule of law and human rights. These are all issues that I think we're all very, very deeply concerned about. I don't think any one person is necessarily more concerned than others. All of us are deeply concerned about it. Very many young people have complained to me. I've also been involved in many cases of trying to resolve situations where these kinds of conduct have been reported. So I think this is a good moment. It's a good moment for the police force, a good moment for law enforcement.
The way forward after the resolutions of the lawmakers, as well as the stoppage of SARS and the promise to overhaul the police, is what Nigerians await with anticipation, that the operations of the security officers would meet up with the objective of the force.
And so it's a new era in Nigeria, an era without SARS. And the Inspector General of Police has promised that apart from the disbandment of SARS, there will be reformation in the police force. So Nigerians are waiting to see how this will take shape and how it will affect the security of the country. Don't forget that we always want to hear from you. Send us an email, send us a tweet, and we would respond to it. That's it for now. I'm Ini John Mekwa.